Josh, thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure because I know that I feel like this intersection of basketball and music is something that you hold very near and dear to your heart.
Very dear. I feel like when I found out that indie basketball existed, I was like, this is my jam. This is like what I've been needing in my
Yeah,
life.
amazing. Well, perfect. Well, I'm glad we can make this happen. Um, and let's just kick it off real quick. The first thing I like to ask people is I'd like to know what you're listening to.
Currently, uh, I feel like I'm gonna pull up my little Apple Music real fast and just read off what I currently have. So that Chapel Roan, like Good Luck Babe song has been like on repeat
Ooh,
for the long for this whole weekend. I've been listening to a little bit of the new Rainbow Kitten Surprise record,
okay.
and that's oh yeah, McGee. That's what I've been listening to like
Yeah, that's a
nonstop.
good
That
one.
record is so like ever since like the week
Uh,
it came out, I've been like listening to it like once a week.
it just like feels good, you know?
It honestly does. Like I love him so much, and I found out that he plays live with Dijon, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they us, and I was like, oh, no wonder I like this.
Right.
They're friends. Like this makes total sense. Like obviously.
It just like fits right in that world. I feel like there's like this McGee, Dijon, Thundercat, and it's just
Hmm.
like that's the world that just like feels so good to be in, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, that's a great record. I've been really enjoying that. And I haven't posted yet, but I've been holding there's a JaVale McGee meme to be done there.
Oh yeah. There's gotta be. There's just
Absolutely.
except it's gotta be with all his Shaq in a fool moments.
Yeah,
It's God,
absolutely.
man. Oh man, that man. But
He's
he's an
wild.
NBA champion, which is
He
just
is,
funny. You know,
there's a lot of people out there. Adam Morrison's a two-time NBA champion, so
man,
it's wild.
man,
But
he was so good on the Bobcats on NBA Live
yeah,
08. What a guy.
oh yeah, yeah. But bouncing off of what you've been listening to, I know that Black Hippie has a new album coming out, and it is called Basketball Camp, which again, perfect alignment.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I guess like tell us a little bit about like what went into kind of making the album and why is it called Basketball Camp?
So the record we kind of like I kind of started writing for it um the end of 2021 was when I kind of
Mhm.
well, I wrote the first song, which was like Basketball Camp.
Sure.
Um, and the song was about like because that song kind of like was what sparked the whole album because we hadn't really had any idea what we were going to record for our next record. So I wrote that song kind of to get ready for we were playing our first South by that following like March. So I was trying to like write some new stuff for that. And then I wrote the song Basketball Camp, and it was about like kind of like my relationship with my dad. And I feel like the best way to kind of think about my relationship with my dad is to think about it through terms of basketball. Because I feel like we got like really close when I was in high school playing
Mhm.
basketball, and he'd always take me to practice. He's the only one that took me to practice, so we would just talk all the time and hang out a bunch. We started playing a lot of ball together and stuff like that. So I felt like I was like, I'm gonna write a song on my dad. The best way to kind of sum up our relationship is
Yeah.
basketball camp. It's like basketball, and I was like, oh, like basketball camp just sounds like a great title for anything. So that's where the name came from. And then when we so I started working on more songs for the record. I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just keep the name Basketball Camp. I feel like that perfectly sums up like the record because the record's kind of about like coming of age and being okay with how you turned out
Sure.
despite like kind of how you grew up and things like that. And I was like, yeah, I feel like the first time I ever realized I had depression was when I was like playing basketball in high school. So I was like, and that kind of set me on the whole path I am now with like the music I make and stuff like that. So I was like, oh yeah, Basketball Camp still perfectly fits to
Hmm.
kind of like as a blanket that kind of fits over it everything I'm
Yeah.
writing.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like, there is a lot of community and kind of that. It's honestly a lot of the reason that people are drawn to indie basketball in general. It's like there is a lot of that shared community and like whatever, whether it's basketball, whatever it is, it's kind of like
Mhm.
this kind of sub community that kind of comes together in that sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's I don't know, I like it. I feel like I always tell like my girlfriend and stuff that like every time I play a music festival, it feels like every time we play the out of town basketball thing, basketball tournament, because like we're all there for the same reason. We're all getting a welcome packet. you're looking over there seeing who the competition is, looking
Hmm.
around like, ooh, like, is that band really that good? I gotta see them and see. Or like, I don't know, say has that same kind of camaraderie. Everybody in the artist lounges, same as like everybody in
Sure.
like a lobby of a hotel or something like that. I don't know. I feel like there's I just said a lot of parallels between indie music and music in general and like
I
the same
mean,
kind of community in basketball. I mean, what is like a jam session that isn't just like pick up basketball on a
yeah,
regular day? You know what I mean? Same vibes.
absolutely. 100%. Yeah, it's just, and just that whole kind of being in a band of, it's like all a shared experience.
Yeah.
Um, so with basketball camp, are there any kind of artists who you feel were like direct influence into how the sound came out?
Definitely. I feel like I kind of wanted to lean into like more, I don't know, more of like my different influences. I feel like the first record is very much like a like indie rock record through and through. And I feel like I kind of
Hmm.
just mostly just pulled from like my like love of indie rock and stuff like that. Where I feel like on
Sure.
this record, I feel like I kind of like cast kind of a wider net. So I feel like a lot of like the reference songs were like stuff from like Vic Mensa and like a lot more like my love of like Blood Orange and like synths like that, but also
Hmm.
like kind of leading into like more weirder kind of like sonic ideas. Whereas like a lot of like how um the song Silent Disco like sounds like sonically is just all based off like this one theme song to the 1980s Curious George. Just the way that like little like if you look it up 1980s Curious George theme song in your downtime, it slaps. It's all warbly
Okay.
and like lo-fi and stuff. So like that was like a huge influence on like a lot of the sounds on the record. I tried to pull a lot from like bands like La Dispute and a lot of Touche Amore. Those do a lot.
Hmm.
Like that one Piano Became some Teeth record. And I don't know, I was trying to just cast like a wider net into like a lot of just different like artists and stuff like that and seeing what I could take from them and like what I could be inspired by and stuff like that. Because I'm kind of like, I feel like every record I kind of make a bigger leap in kind of understanding like how I relate to art and like creating it
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And I feel like this record was kind of like the big final leap I kind of needed to like figure out like how I conceptualize music and like how I create and like kind of understanding that. So I feel like so those are some of the artists I pull from or whatever. I don't know. I tend
Yeah.
to ramble off. Yeah.
No, dude, I mean that's amazing because like how many artists really say like, oh, my album's inspired by Curious George, Pianos Become the Teeth, and Vic
Yeah.
Mensa. Like
Yeah,
it's just like, but it's awesome. It's so unique.
it's also like I didn't grow up in like a musical household.
Hmm.
Like everybody like my dad does like graphic design and my brother does like film and stuff. So like the only way I ever like the early days of me like conceptualizing what art is was visual art. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes really hard for me to like pull from just music to kind of be inspired to write. I have to like think of like scenes or think of different clips or movies and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of the record was inspired by the movie Hoop Dreams and like kind of like how that movie feels and stuff like that, but also like based on like my different emotions towards watching Hoop Dreams and kind of like my progression as a person. Because when I was watching Hoop Dreams at like when I was like a little kid, I just didn't really care because I didn't really like
Hmm.
basketball at the time. But then when I was in high school, I used to watch it. And in my mind, it was so like inspirational and stuff. And then now that I'm like an adult, I watch it and like it's a sad movie. It's like really
Yeah.
sad. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? When you truly like think about what's going on and stuff like that, and these people's like lives, how they gave up so much, to not really have that much at the end. Um, so that was another huge like influence on the record was just like the
For
emotions
sure.
of that movie, how that movie feels, and how it kind of moves and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, even when it comes down to, you mentioned, filmmaking, like I'm sure, there's even elements where you kind of caught on earlier where it's like, I mean, scores are such a major element of filmmaking, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that partially kind of all gets blended into it too.
Oh, definitely.
Do you have any top of your head random question? Do you have any favorite film scores?
Favorite film scores? Ooh, the Tron Legacy film
That's a
score
good
is
one.
just
That's
solid.
Daft Punk, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so insanely good.
It's too perfect.
I feel the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like a classic.
Classic Ennio
Love some
Morricone, yeah.
tremolo guitar.
Uh-huh.
Um, Man, those are only two that I can like instantly think of. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Oh, the Love Lives Bleeding soundtrack was good. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I don't know
Shouts to
that
my
one yet.
girlfriend. So it's that like
It's
lesbian like
Kirsten
crime
Stewart, right?
thriller. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good movie, but like the soundtrack. Oh, Drive. It's a similar soundtrack to the movie Drive. It's like
Yeah.
very synth heavy, like 80s. And it's
Yeah.
like
In
so
a
good.
similar mode too, in more recent movies, One on Tricks Point Never did Uncut Gems, and
Oh
Good
yeah,
Time.
yeah. I still have not seen Uncut Gems.
It's, you know,
It's
there is
I heard it's
obviously
good.
basketball involved, but it's just like
Yeah,
such a stressful movie.
yeah. That's what everyone says. I was gonna. My theater did like a re-showing of it like recently, but
Mhm.
I missed it. But I was gonna try to
It's
see it in
tough.
theaters because it's so stressful. I was like, I want to do
Yeah,
it. So I
you
might
need to
just
devote
like,
your attention.
yeah, I might just do one of those like get under like go to bed, but just get under the cover and watch on my phone. That way I'm like fully immersed. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
way I can like
sensory deprivation movie
exactly,
experience.
exactly.
Yeah, my wife and I saw it in theaters, and we got out, and it's just like kind of just need to like not talk for a little bit. Just need to like cleanse my emotions right now. But cool, man. Yeah, and very excited for the album. I've really enjoyed the tracks I've heard so far. Um, I guess you guys are planning a tour coming up, right?
Yeah, yeah. We go back on tour this coming up Friday.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
exciting, man. Do you how do you enjoy being on the road, or is it kind of like a love-hate relationship?
I feel like it's it's pretty like complex to me. I feel like when I started kind of touring heavy, I didn't really know how to like exist without being on the road
Yeah. Yeah.
because I feel like I'm kind of one of those people where like I don't really feel at home really anywhere. So like tour is like perfect for me. I'm like I don't need to have a like a home base. I can just kind of go
Mhm.
anywhere. And then I feel like as the touring now the years go by, I feel like I still love tour as much as I did the first day, but I feel like now I kind of like crave the time back home and kind of like the
Yeah.
structure of it all. But I don't know. I still love it. I don't think I'll ever hate it. Like there's days where I hate it. Like man, especially when we were on tour in Europe, there were some days I was like, why am I still doing this? But I feel like for every like four of those, there's like 10 really cool things that happen, that's happened kind of at the same time, really. So it's like I love it. But I don't know, maybe ask this question in a couple of years. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
start to
right.
hate it then. But as of now, I still love
I
it.
wonder if I'll also ask you this question in a couple weeks or months, where after your tour, like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that'll be a different answer for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, well, cool, man. I'm very excited. Like I said, very excited for the album. But as we've been kind of talking about pretty consistently throughout, I mean, you have this overlap of basketball and music very consistently. Let's talk a little bit about basketball. And you mentioned a little bit already, like, so you used to play in high school. Is that what you said?
Mhm. Yeah,
Have,
I
is
was
playing basketball kind of always been a thing in your life, or?
not really. So I feel like I started playing like piano when I was 11, and then I started playing basketball like 13.
Hmm,
So I didn't really like sports really growing up. My dad like played like college baseball and stuff, so he was like
okay.
loved baseball. Like both my like granddads were in the Negro League, so they were like, like
Whoa,
baseball.
that's
And
cool.
me and my brother didn't want to get hit in the face with the ball, so we were just like, no. So we were just so we like play sports as kids, but not like competitively or anything. And
Sure.
then when I was like 13 was when we had the Derrick Rose led University of Memphis Tigers. And that was the team that got me into basketball. After like watching, I was like, Derrick Rose is my favorite player. I'm gonna be a I'm gonna be a starting point guard in the NBA. That's my goal. Which
Ooh.
obviously wasn't gonna happen because I picked up a ball at 13. That's not how like anything works.
Hey,
But yeah, I
Joel
started.
Embiid picked up the ball late too.
Yeah, but he's like I'm like 5'7". And at the time I picked up the ball at 13, I think I was like 5 foot maybe.
Yeah.
Uh, but but definitely but yeah, I didn't really I didn't pick up a ball until I was like 13. But like instantly like fell in love with it when I started playing.
Awesome. Yeah, it almost feels like you kind of like dipped your toe in like two areas, and you're like, let's see which one rises to the top.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like definitely in high school, like I feel like I cared about basketball like more than music. I feel like well, it's when I started getting good because I started getting like really good when I was like 16. So like my first two seasons, I was like atrocious, like terrible. And then like my sophomore year, I like started JV every game just to play terrible. Like
Yeah,
there was
sure.
one game I went like 0-12. And like I think I was bad those first 2 years. But then when I started like when I was 16 was when I got like I grew a little bit and I got my handles up and I was like athletic. So I was like, I like my last 2 years, I was like a lot better. So during those
Sure.
last two, like sophomore, junior, and senior year, like I cared about basketball way more than I cared about
Yeah, yeah.
music. I was like, I don't care about that. I was like, I even wanted to quit piano lessons at one point. I was telling
Ooh.
them, I was like, I don't want to do that. She was like, no, you're staying in piano, which
Right.
I'm very thankful for because man, I don't know what I'd be doing right now.
Well, yeah, works out. Were you on the varsity team?
My
What
senior
was your
year,
position?
I was a point guard. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like super short. I was like I had this joke with a dude I went to college with. They said all Memphis point guards all play the same. They all play really intense defense. They all like do a lot of dribbling, and they all just shoot floaters. That's all they do. That's all they do is shoot floaters. And that was my game. I was
All
like a
right.
pass first. I was like a pass first point guard, but like I it was all about like crossing somebody, either doing a no look pass to somebody or like hitting a floater over like a taller defender.
Hmm.
Because I was before like because I was playing. I graduated high school like 2013, so that was before
Hmm.
like Steph Curry was like Steph Curry. You know what I mean? So like, wasn't nobody really like shooting like that. Like back in the day, it was like, no, you
True.
get to the basket, you know,
Uh-huh.
double clutch on five people, take the contact, and like lay it up and stuff like that. And now
Back
it's
when the
just like
mid-range game was still very much
ex-
alive.
my 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 mid range pull up was like
There
I
you
was
go.
trying to be Westbrook so hard on that. I was
But
like I wanted that. Yeah.
that's classic Derrick Rose. He would hit some of those because like he
Oh
can
yeah.
attack really hard, but then he would
Yeah.
stop
And then
mid-range and
little.
pull up.
Oh yeah, man. He was. That was my favorite player of all time. I even had
I
his
mean,
little.
I'm a Bulls fan, so you don't gotta tell me
Oh
twice.
man, his little plant. The plant he did. I literally did that every like. That was like one of my go-tos. Drive the hard plant,
There
and
you
then
go.
oh man, dude, Rose was my. I still have that Derrick Rose Bulls jersey like downstairs
Oh
somewhere.
man,
Oh yeah, that was my guy.
so great. Um, are you still play?
I haven't picked up a basketball in years. I played. I would play men's league with my dad every
Mhm.
summer when I came back from college. We'd always play, and that was always like funny because I would always have like I'd average like 12 points a game, and then there'd always be one game where like because I would always show up like hungover or like still like a little drunk. Because I was an irresponsible early 20-year-old or whatever. But I would always just have one game where I drop like 40. Because like someone would be really mean to me, and I would just be like, "Nah, bro, I'm about to ruin this man's night."
Yep.
But I haven't really played ball in like I think last time I shot or I like touched a basketball was like 2 years ago. We played a music festival in Boise, Idaho, and they had this 3-on-3 tournament of all the bands, and it was Riskit Ball. Uh, and it was
Man, that's
really
great.
funny. That was the last time I touched the ball, but like, uh, yeah, I don't really. I want to play again. I don't have a gym membership, so that's kind of like my current deterrent.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just like I haven't played ball in a while, and like ever since I like because when I went to college, when my knees really like my knees bothered me in high school, but like
Yeah.
it when I got to like college, like I lost all my athleticism throughout the years because my legs got so bad, and like I had all these like minor injuries. So when I started playing again, like I was like I didn't have any of my athleticism left, so I kind of stopped loving it a lot.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like between that and not touching a ball for like 2 years, I don't want to go out there and scrub it up. So I might just wait till like my daughter gets like a couple years older and wants to start playing ball. Then like
There you
maybe
go.
that'll get me back. That's what got my dad back on the court. So
Yeah. Or
that'll
you
be what
can
gets
get yeah,
me.
you can get coaching or something like that.
Oh, actually, I coached for. I was an assistant coach for a year for middle school basketball. It was
There you
hilarious.
go.
It was. I was a. I worked at a school. I was a preschool teacher assistant, and I was the one of the assistant basketball coaches. And it was wild because like during the day, I'm like talking to these like preschoolers trying to get them to write their name,
Mhm.
and then like at night, I'm just like screaming the F word at a 12-year-old that threw the ball out of bounds. It was just the wildest experience. It was like.
That's amazing. And yet you join good company because I've had some other guests who have coached basketball as well. Josh Burwinger from the Anniversary used to coach basketball.
Really,
And I haven't had him on, but I know Davey Von Bolin from Promise Ring is he used to coach basketball too.
that's hilarious, bro. I don't. That's so funny.
It's
I
it's so crazy, you never
yeah.
you never know who's got it in them.
Yeah.
Um, so you're a Grizzlies fan, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Through and
I
through.
was told you're a Grizzlies fan or whoever LeBron is playing for.
Yeah. I read like a LeBron like biography or whatever about his time in high school with that team he had when I was like 13. And I was
Yeah.
just like since then I was like I rock with LeBron anywhere. So I'm sadly a Lakers fan. I don't like being a Lakers fan. Never was in my entire life, but gotta take the L. But Grizzlies fan through and through.
There you go.
And next year it's a wrap because Ja's gonna be 100%, and it's gonna be a wrap. But yeah,
Okay. All right.
it's a
I
wrap.
believe you. It is crazy though how like LeBron has that impact. Like I can't think of any other, there's very few athletes who people will just like be like, I'm a fan of you. I don't care what team you're on, I'm a fan of
Yeah,
you. LeBron's one of the few people I've ever seen have that power, which is pretty awesome.
it's hilarious. There's a I remember like back in the like after you went to Miami, there was like this picture floating around Twitter where it was like the LeBron James transfer teams form, and it was like, why are you leaving? Why are you joining a new fan base? It was like LeBron moved. He was like, all right, Phil. This. It was just the funniest thing. Yeah,
Oh
he
yeah.
man, I'm always gonna rock wherever he ends up. I'm like, that's my team for sure.
Is there any team he goes to and you're like, I don't
Well,
know.
it was for years. I said the Lakers. I was like, I'm never gonna be a Lakers fan. I just never I never liked
What
the
if he goes
Lakers,
to the
and like
Celtics?
I could be. I've been a Celtics fan before. The first NBA Finals I watched was the Celtics Big Three, when they won that championship. So I feel
When
like it was
Rondo went
like,
crazy, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. When I like that was like my first final. So I could be a Celtics fan again. I wouldn't be
Okay, all
happy
right.
about it, but I could do it. I could
That's
battle
fair.
it.
Well, yeah, I hope the Grizzlies can take that leap. Do you think they got enough pieces?
I feel like we need like a true center that rebounds. I feel like trading Steven Adams is gonna be a blow. It's just because like Jaren Jackson's great on offense, great defender, like
Mhm.
blocking all these shots, great. He just can't rebound, and we just instead of just being like you need to learn to rebound, he's been in the league like 4 or 5 seasons at this point.
Right.
Let's just get a better center because Brandon Clark's gonna hold it down coming off the bench. We just need a starting center that all they do is get rebounds and set hard screens. I think Bane's gonna be fine. I feel like Gigi is just like came out of nowhere and is already kind of like ready to kind of fall into place perfectly. If Josh stays healthy, he's gonna kill. I feel like maybe a little more like shooting coming off the bench.
Yeah. I feel like a
Uh,
shooter or a wing in general, I think could
yeah,
be very valuable.
yeah. But I feel like that's about it. I think it's all we really got.
I really
And I think
hope
we're gonna
Ja
be
can
like,
re-enter those MVP conversations.
I think he will. I mean, the few games he played this season before he got hurt, he was killing. He was
Yeah.
absolutely murdering. I feel like I'm confident. It's also just nice having like a flashy, explosive player on the Grizzlies because, like,
Right.
I was there for all the grit and grind playoffs, and it was I watched every single game. It wasn't pretty, but at least now it's like, oh man, at least he'll like dunk on somebody or something, you know?
Right. He puts on so many highlights, and in his absence it's crazy how much we forget because now we got like Anthony Edwards doing those
Oh
kind of
yeah,
highlights all the time, which is
yeah,
crazy. But that West will be interesting, the next year. Maybe
yeah.
maybe they reemerge.
I mean, I feel like we get like a six or fifth seed. I feel like if we really,
Which if you look at
yeah,
this year's playoffs, good enough.
yeah,
Six can get you
definitely,
far.
yeah. Just as long as we avoid the plan, I'm fine.
Oh God, I've been stuck in play in purgatory for years now.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
a tough place to be, man. It's just nonstop. Um,
yeah.
have you been watching this playoffs this year?
I have. I've been watching as much as I can.
Yeah.
Because I realize Max like shows a bunch of games, so that's been like
Yeah.
my saving grace. So I watched a bunch of the Knicks games. Really
Yeah.
bummed they got eliminated. I was loving Jalen Brunson. I was loving like I love little Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, the little
Mm-hmm.
Villanova
The
fam.
Villanova, yeah. They're
It's so
brothers.
adorable. I love it. I really wanted them to. Cause I thought they were gonna make the Eastern Conference Finals pretty interesting because I think
Yeah.
they're a good, pretty decent matchup for Boston.
Right.
I feel like the Pacers are just gonna get destroyed by Boston because they don't play defense and
Yeah.
they
I
got way
want to
too much offense.
believe.
Me too. Like
I
I like Halliburton is he's like a
love
two
him.
K point guard.
Yeah.
Like man's dropping 20 and 20 in the regular season like it ain't nothing.
Right.
Like
Yeah, he's so fun to watch, and they got the depth, they got Siakam, they got
yeah,
Turner. Like that's kind of like I think what you were talking about the Grizzlies. Like you need that kind of like
yeah,
second person other than
exactly.
Turner.
Yeah,
So it's not going to go well. There's no way, but weirder things have
But
happened. I
I
don't
don't.
know.
I feel like a lot of people said that about uh Minnesota, Denver though, because
Everyone
I don't
called
think anyone.
Minnesota frauds going in as
Yeah,
like the one of the top seeds.
yeah. I I didn't think I thought they were going to be a tough matchup for the Nuggets, but I didn't think they were
Yeah,
actually going to win. But now that they win, I'm picking them to go all the way because I want
that
Mike Conley. Mike Conley got to get a ring. He
there.
deserves it. He's
Yeah,
the
there you
sweetest man
go.
of all time.
That I don't know if you watched the final game 7
Oh yeah, I
yesterday.
did. I watched it. Yeah.
That was maybe one of like my favorite basketball games I've ever watched.
Oh, it was amazing. Coming down from 20, like it's like I was keeping up with the score on my phone until about the third quarter, and then I like switched to watching it because I saw it was
Yeah.
like 20 points. I was like,
Oh,
oh man, they're cooked. They're a young team. They'll be back next year and they'll do well. And then like I checked again and I was like, what? So then I turned on my phone and it was, oh my god, that corner three by Ed was crazy. The Rudy Gobert fadeaway was hilarious though.
yeah.
I was like, at that point, I was like, the basketball gods are meant to y'all to go to the
It's
conference finals because
it's so funny because like you mentioned Gobert as like people are even mentioning like they just got to bench Gobert for game 7. It's like, are you kidding me?
yeah,
Like there's just no way. And he comes up coming through with some shots and some
oh
plays, and
yeah,
it's wild. It's
yeah.
I'm definitely pulling for them as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be really funny, and I feel like all the Michael Jordan, Anthony Edwards memes will be even funnier. I feel like if he
Yeah,
gets a chip this year, I just feel like it'll be even funnier.
it's so good. And he's only 22, and like
Yeah.
they're gonna be on. I love watching like him and Kat in press conferences.
Oh
Like
yeah, just so unbothered, so
just don't
unserious.
care. They just
Yeah,
like just speak from their mind, whatever they're thinking. It's
I saw
crazy.
this. I saw this one TikTok today where it was like they showed the Anthony Edwards like corner three, and it's like, and there's Anthony Edwards yelling at somebody's dad because
Yeah.
right after he
Oh
was
yeah.
like,
It was like
it's like, where are
someone's
you?
grandfather.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Just the funniest dude
He
ever.
doesn't care, man. That's why I kind of love him.
Yeah, he's
Um so what's your final prediction here for the finals? What do you feel is
all right.
gonna go down?
I think it's gonna be Minnesota versus the Boston Celtics, and I feel like I don't know. I think it could go 7 games.
It could.
I feel like it's an interesting matchup because I feel like Tatum and Anthony Edwards kind of cancel each other out. And then I feel like there's a lot of like length and defense, like the with all the defenders on like the Timberwolves, and I feel like
Hmm.
that's gonna really bother Jaylen Brown because the meme about him not being able to dribble his left
Yeah.
hand. It just I know we all know he could dribble his left hand, but there's a
Sure.
lot of evidence that shows
You
under a lot
can't
of
be in the
pressure.
NBA and not be able to.
Yeah,
He just might not be like
exactly.
amazing at it.
Exactly. But I feel like that defense is really going to bother him. So I think that's going to make it interesting kind of lineup. And I feel like it's on the Boston side, it's going to really come down to like role players. I feel like
Yeah.
because if like Porzingis plays well, then he's going to pull Gobert out of the paint, and then you have a clear paint. Uh,
If
or if
Derek
you
White
have
keeps
like,
playing like he has been,
oh yeah, what is up with Derek White this season? Like,
crazy. It's because he
that name
gave
was a
in and he shaved his head and then he went
yeah.
off.
Because I was like, that dude was like a meme a year ago. Like,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. This dude is like honestly,
He
like
literally
sometimes
was.
their third
He
best.
missed that
Yeah,
shot.
yeah. And it's just like now he's just like killing this season to the point where
Mhm.
like you have to like respect him and like focus a lot of your defense, not a lot of it because you have Tatum and Jaylen Brown
Yeah.
obviously, but like focus a good chunk of your like third tier defense on that man.
But I think Conley can stop that.
Oh yeah, Conley's great.
So
Conley's just the greatest at everything.
that'll be a fun matchup. But also we can't discount Dallas because they're also a good team.
Oh yeah, Dallas. I didn't think Dallas was gonna beat this good this year.
I
I didn't
no
think they make it this far in the playoffs.
no in preseason. Honestly, I think they lost almost every single game in preseason by a lot.
Yeah,
And I thought,
yeah,
oh, it was going to be a rough ride, but something happened where finally Luca and Kyrie clicked, and
yeah,
they just started playing great together, and it's been
yeah.
awesome to watch.
And that PJ Washington trade was really,
Surprisingly
really good.
good.
Really good.
Lively has been way better than they
Oh yeah.
expected,
Yeah.
so that's been great. I
Honestly.
mean, who
Yeah.
knows, man? Honestly, I'm very happy if anyone wins besides the Celtics. But even if the Celtics win, it's still
Yeah.
like Tatum's first one and Brown's first one, and
Yeah.
it's like that's cool.
Yeah. I think it's kind of
It's good.
interesting. Yeah. I think it's weird getting older and then like all the players you used to seeing are out of the league, and there's all these new
Yeah.
guys that are like grabbing at like the trophy of like best player in the league. And honestly, it's wild. It's really weird.
I mean, how crazy to have a playoffs without LeBron or Steph.
Yeah, but
And,
honestly,
even like Kawhi and Paul George, they were first round
oh yeah,
elimination.
yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
it's wild. But I'm liking it though. The games are like I do like kind of like the how a lot of these new guys play though. Honestly, like
Yeah,
fascinating.
it's
Everybody's
great.
everybody's a lot more defense focused, but like everybody's
Right.
running and gunning. Everybody's doing a lot more ball movements. Because I mean, I was coming out of the mellow era when I was watching basketball. It's just like hold that ball for like 14
Uh-huh.
seconds, couple of jab steps, and then shoot a contested shot. So it's like kind of, I guess, I like the
One on
evolution of
one,
where
use
everything's
the whole
going.
clock. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like how many seconds we got? 20 seconds. All right, y'all, give me
Right.
the post.
Now we get scores that were like all-star game scores from like 10, 15 years ago. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, it's 142 to 138.
yeah, it's
It's crazy.
wild.
But these playoffs have been awesome. I'm excited to see how it plays out. And
Same,
yeah,
honestly.
it's a good one. So the last thing I like to do is a little participation thing, is a little game. And it's called musician matchups, where we try and pair musicians or bands to players and
Mhm.
just kind of see what kind of silly reason we compare them and come up with a musical comp. So let's do some Grizzlies players.
All right, I'm here for it.
All right, let's do it. So the first one I had on the list, and we can compare our answers, and we'll start with your guy, Joshua Hom. Or sorry, John Morant. I gave
Ja
away my
Morant.
answer.
Oh, Ja Morant. Oh man, I feel like Ja Morant is like off the wall Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? I feel
Ooh.
like I feel like we know where Ja could possibly end up, but we haven't seen his like full potential. We've just seen flashes of like what he could. You know what I mean? Like we know
Mhm.
Thriller is like Ja Morant's equivalent of a Thriller season is like on the horizon. But we're gonna sit here with the song "Rock with You" and be like, you know what? There's gonna be more to come from this. So it's like a lot to see. You're getting a lot now, getting hits, but like on the horizon, bigger things are coming, and you're excited for it. But there's no guarantee, though. We never know if we're gonna end up with a Thriller. But we're on the edge of our seat waiting for it.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love the positivity you're bringing with that one. That's and also like that connection is like seamless career arc. So
Oh
good.
yeah,
Um, I might have tipped earlier, but I unfortunately, because like I am not a Grizzlies fan, I went to the unfortunate press that he gets
oh,
in media. But it's not. I didn't go as exact. So I said I'm trying to think. John Morant is someone who is clearly extremely talented, but he gets his image bogged down by some personal things going on in his life. And I think that's Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age.
oh.
Amazing guitarist and musician, but he's got stuff going on that it's like just come on, just don't.
I love that answer. I'm
It's
done.
just it's like you don't have to mess this up,
Yeah, that's funny.
but he chooses to apparently. Because I like Ja, I like
Yeah.
he's so fun to watch, um, and you know I like McQueen's the Stone Age every now and then, but just pull it in.
That's funny.
All right, next on the list we have Marcus Gasol.
Marcus All. Ooh. Hmm.
He's a quieter pick. I mean, he's not
Yeah.
like Ja is obviously easy because he's like so flashy.
Yeah. I feel like what's that band? Dude, what's that band that they did Who's Gonna Drive You Home? They're from the 80s. They also did that one song that your mom played synth on when she was in that band. Is it the Cars?
It is the Cars.
Yeah, the Cars. Okay, yeah, the Cars. Here's why. I feel like when you look back at like 80s bangers, right?
Hmm.
Everybody always like leans on like Oh Queen or like The Police, like Foreigner, like all these other bands. But there's so many songs you don't realize are flat out bangers or you've heard on the radio a million times
Yeah,
until you hear it in like a movie and you're like, I'm watching the first Transformers movie. Who's that? Who's gonna drive you home? Who's that? The Cars. And I feel like that's Marcus Saul's whole career. Just great player, like all star. He got a what defensive player of the year one year, just like really good. And you don't really realize how good he is until maybe you're like watching a YouTube video and you're like scrolling through TikTok or something like that, and there's like a little highlight compilation. You're like, wait, how did I forget about this guy when I'm talking about amazing players in the 2010s? You know what I mean? Like, how did I forget that this man was leading his team to a conference finals? You know what I mean?
That's so good.
Same with the Cars. Boom.
Truly, are you coming up with
Yes,
these
all
like
this
off
is
the top
top
of
of
your
the
head?
dome.
Because that's
Yeah,
like
because
such a like a coherent, complete thought.
yeah, no, yeah, it's all top of the dome.
Some people, prepare their answers and they're not nearly half as eloquent as that. So, well done. That's good. Yeah, I totally vibe that. And also, even if you look at like his game, it's a little, kind of like classic in that sense.
Oh yeah, man, the hook shots, little mid range. I mean, he got the three ball later, but those post moves,
Yeah,
some about them Gasol brothers, is they got that
totally
footwork.
awesome. My pick. So I went with Mark being he's kind of slow, but
Oh
like
yeah,
but
very
like but like pointed, very
yeah.
methodical.
Mm.
Um, slow and heavy. So I went with like my Bloody Valentine. It's
Oh
like he's got this
yeah,
weight. He's got this weight
yeah.
to him, but like it's like, man, this is pretty, but it's like heavy, like
Yeah,
it's just
I
like
love
a
that.
man of multitudes.
Yeah,
So that's where I
I,
went with Marcus All.
it's 10 out of
Um
loving these, honestly.
so third on the list, this might actually you might be stumped on this one because I don't know if you were in the Vancouver Grizzlies days a fan, but it is Bryant Reeves,
Oh yeah, it's big country.
a big country.
Yeah, man. I know about him because like he used to be like on the Vancouver Grizzlies, but then like I
Sure.
remembered who he was when I saw this like clip of like Shaquille O'Neal talking about who like used to give him
Oh
work
yeah,
every time
yeah.
they played. He was like big country. Man, big country. All right, I got it. I got it. So I feel like for big country, I'm seeing uh Johnny Cash. Just sturdy and like focused on the work. You know what I mean? Big country got in there. He wasn't trying to be flashy. He wasn't throwing no behind the back passes. Solid footwork, hook shot here and there, a little midi every now and then. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Very like but very like put together though. Just I show up
Yeah.
there, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, brings a lunch pail every time. I feel like the equivalent music equivalent of that, the true hero of the working class, Johnny Cash. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Johnny Cash got his start in Memphis. Vancouver Grizzlies moved to Memphis.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's all comes together.
It it
That's
all it all comes into place. It's
yeah. And I'm just saying I don't think Johnny Cash should get 10 rebounds in the league, but I'm pretty sure Big Country could sing "Hurt."
ooh.
That's
I
all
would
I'm
love to
saying.
hear it. I would love to
You
hear.
know,
That's all I know.
I have no data to back this up, but I
That's
believe in it.
amazing. I mean, I I safely I feel safe knowing that you are easily the first person to ever compare Bryant Reeves to Johnny Cash.
You know what? I'll write that on my tombstone.
Yeah, there you go. So my pick for that one is I wanted because big country, I wanted to go someone with that a little bit of that working class, like you were talking
Yeah,
about this country, but also like there's some oomph, there's some
yeah.
power. Are you familiar with a band called Show Me the Body?
I love Show Me the Body. Oh my god. I got into them randomly in college on accident.
Uh-huh.
And then they used to just play them a bunch at one of the music video venues down here. Like I was sitting at the bar area, they just kept playing like what's that one that Atomic Taste. Oh yeah, I
It's
love Show Me the Body.
Arcanum. Is that their like
Yeah,
their popular song, I think.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
dude. I
Yeah,
just feel like I can just see Bryant Reeves with like a banjo and then just fucking going
oh yeah.
ham.
No, I can see this.
Absolutely. He brings the heavy to the country and he's just like he'll mash you in the post.
Yeah,
It's the sonic equivalent of his play style. It's
yeah,
like I bring the roots, but it's like it's with power.
yeah. No, I agree. I like that. Solid pick.
Absolutely. I was listening to some of that on my way home from work. I'm like, yeah, this works. So the last person we'll do is someone who's hopped around the league a bit, and that's Rudy Gay.
it's gonna be a some slander. Man, I don't like Rudy Gay. Man,
Oh,
that man, I think it's humanly impossible for him to score over 24 points. Like it was like I don't think he could score 30. The closest he could get 28, maybe. And all he does is have that one game winner over LeBron James, and that he got a pass for like 2 days. But
I
Rudy
think
Gay,
Rudy Gay was exceptionally average.
oh yeah. All right, let me see. Rudy Gay. Hmm. You know what? This might be a little unpopular, but I'll die on this hill.
We
I'll
love
die on this hill.
unpopular takes.
I I feel like Rudy Gay is the Killers. Okay,
Mm.
I don't like the Killers. Just a side note, but I feel like everybody knows Mr. Brightside. Every time it comes on in the club bar,
Mhm.
everybody loses their stuff. The same way I lose it every time I see that one clip of him hitting that game winner over LeBron. I'm like, this is my guy. This is my city. I love this so much. But if I see any other highlight of him, I'm just like, yeah, you hog the ball. And the furthest, and we only beat the Spurs. Our first playoff run was because you're injured. You're not that good. And that's how I feel every time I hear a song that's not Mr. Brightside by the Killers. I'm just like, get this off. I don't care about this. I'm a Strokes guy. I don't want to listen to this garbage. And that's the same way I feel about anytime I see anything about Rudy Gay other than that one highlight. But I'm guaranteed when that highlight hits, it was on the right corner. It was a fadeaway going out of bounds. Beautiful. I remember it just like it was yesterday. Do I remember anything else he's done for the Grizzly organization? No. Same way I don't know any other Killer song. Boom.
Some people out there who are like, I like Sam's Town.
Yeah.
Not you. Not you.
No.
Some
Heck
people
no.
like all forms of Rudy Gay. But you know what?
Yeah.
That's perfect. You know what I would the way I feel the way you feel about the Killers is the way I feel about the 1975.
Oh, solid take. I don't think 75
I
either.
same kind of thing. It's like I know that people like them, but
Yeah.
not me. I don't know what it is.
It's like I feel like the day I stopped shopping at H&M was also the day I realized I didn't like the 1975.
There you
And I'm
go.
not saying those are like linked together, but I think they are
A
personally.
little
I don't
bit.
know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, they make
a little
H&M
bit.
music. Yeah.
uh okay. So I'm not slandering Rudy Gay as much on my pick.
Boo! Boo!
So, but I went with. I mean, it's somewhere in between because I'm not also praising him, but it's someone who has just been around for a while, and they haven't put out like nonstop hits, but they have put
Yeah.
out enough music to just stay around.
Mhm.
And I went with Spoon because I love early Spoon.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mess with some spoon.
But there's a good stretch of albums where I could not name you a single song,
Yeah.
and I probably haven't listened to more than once. So hanging around, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Spoon.
I can see that. I honestly I can see that. I don't think I know any spoon music that's come out after like 2004. So
Right after Gaga Gaga Ga whatever. I
yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
but okay, well that's where we're at. Um, dude, thanks so much for joining. This has been a blast.
This has honestly been one of my favorite interviews ever. This is we can talk
Hell
about
yeah,
basketball. I feel like I never get really a chance to talk about basketball like ever. So this is fun.
for sure. But yeah,
What
it's
you
been
doing
great
next week?
talking. Absolutely. Well, we got to get you doing a half court session
Oh yeah,
sometime.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, it's been great talking. Looking forward to the album.
Oh, heck yeah.
All right, man. We'll catch you later.
All right, later.